Look, I wonder, I texted a bunch of my friends about this, all black, and I said, did you guys see this? And one replied, he said, who in the hell is talking about this, Dana? Like, who's
the president.
But who's the constituent? I think it's one thing, I mean, if you're white, no one wants to constantly be told everything your people did in the past is terrible. Like, no one wants to hear that over and over again. I completely understand that.
We have to apologize for being Americans. We have to constantly apologize for our original sin. That's very real.
Mr. President, move on. No one's asking for this. There's a lot of triumph that comes from the black experience, and Republicans, particularly most people, want to acknowledge it. It happened, it occurred, but can we keep moving forward? I think that's the bigger question for me.
I mean, I know.
Hello everybody. Guys, let's get right into this segment. I actually thought this was a really good panel. We got little Michael there in the corner, and he's so close to seeing how racist his party is. I mean, he is right there, and then he just drifts away. Let's get right into this, and we'll talk about it.
Now he is saying that this whole conversation with regard to what the White House is doing came from a post with the president talking about talking too much about slavery, kind of what we just heard from the staff secretary.
I'm really curious where this came from, and I'm just going to speculate. Abby Phillips had a kind of heated moment on her show with Jillian Michaels, a sort of right-wing commentator, self-styled, about this specific issue. We know Donald Trump is a cable news watcher. I have never heard him before at length talk about concerns over what's in the Smithsonian. In fact, I remember that. I also remember Vice President Pence traveled to the History of African-American Museum, the African-American Museum of History, and he was raving about it and glowing, and it very much echoed those remarks. And to me, that speaks to a couple of things. In the first Trump term, there were people surrounding the president and the vice president who talked about, this is the way we talk about our nation. We have a history we have to acknowledge, we have to learn from. But there's also so much good that we've accomplished since then, and we should highlight those struggles and that overcoming. It seems very different this time. And what's interesting is Anderson did a great breakdown last night. If you actually go through the Smithsonian, there's not what I think anyone could frame as an overemphasis on the struggle of slavery. Most of the stories are that of overcoming. People like Harriet Tubman and others who came from the worst circumstances and became American icons and heroes. So I think, if anything, I'd love to see the president just go maybe tour some of these sites and see if he leaves feeling the same way.
I mean, look,
This was always Trump. Just look up Central Park 5. He got sued for not renting to black people. Like, this is always who he was.
look, I wonder, I texted a bunch of my friends about this, all black, and I said, did you guys see this? And one replied, he said, who in the hell is talking about this, Dana? Like, who's
the president.
But who's the constituency that's asking for some changes to the Smithsonian? What numbers will that move in terms of midterms? I have no idea.
What do you think the answer is?
I mean, look,
From your political perspective.
I think we're the sum of our experiences, right? So you got a little bit of bad, you got a little bit of good. Do we want to wallow in the past? Of course not. But you got to acknowledge it. You have to learn from it. But then you also have to acknowledge all of the good, amazing progress that we're making in this country. I mean, African Americans today, I mean, you think about when my grandparents were in high school, they just desegregated their schools in the South. And here we are several decades later, and I'm educated, my wife's educated, their children did exceptionally well. So the story of the black experience is one of significant triumph. And as a conservative, I mean, we're all about that old aphorism, pull ourselves up from our bootstraps, right? Well, to me, if you want a more American, idealistic story of that, look at the African American experience.
And what about the...
Little Michael, don't do me like this. By black friends, he means Byron Donalds, Tim Scott, and Candace Owens. And yes, Michael, you're completely effing right. This is why I'm so tough on child booster seat, Michael. Because of this, he's way too smart to be so confused as to what's happening here. How can you understand and acknowledge the greatness your people have done for this country, for the world for that matter? The resiliency, I mean, truly unmatched. What they have endured, what they're still enduring. But not understand what your party is doing when they do crap like this? Like, come on, man. Little Michael, you know exactly what this is all about. It's racist red meat again for your party. This is who the Republican Party is. More now. Since Trump came into office in 2016. Racism amongst the party has become more and more accepted and normalized. Trump and Republicans do this kind of garbage because Republicans and conservative voters like it. It's that simple. Think to yourself as to why they like it, Michael.
museum, because he's talking about the way that it's portrayed. Do you think that there's an overemphasis?
I've been to the museum. No, I don't. Again, I think if you look at the stories in that museum, and I'm, again, speaking as a conservative here, and we talk a lot about triumph, we talk a lot about tradition, we talk a lot about protecting certain norms and customs of behavior that we believe are important, then I can't think of any other experience from a group. There are a few that are similar, but not exactly the same, that you could point to as a conservative, as a Republican, to say, if these are our contextual views and ideals as Republicans in modern day America, holy smokes, look at what this group overcame. This represents the best of what we believe. And that's just the way I view this. And I think the average person out there would probably view it the same. So I would say to the president, Mr. President, move on. No one's asking for this. There's a lot of triumph that comes from the black experience, and Republicans, particularly in the past, should be very proud of. And you don't know our history. Republicans played a big role in being on the right side of this issue. And so I would honor that. I would hold that up to say this is a moniker that we want to be proud of as a Republican Party.
I think you touched on an important point.
Guys, I can't help but feel bad for him. I do. I got both the angel and the demon on my soldiers. It's like he can't see it, or something happened. I don't know. And that Republican Party during slavery is now the Democrats. They switch. Essentially, the Democrats were conservatives back then, and Republicans were liberals. Sorry for the sirens. He knows this. The Democrats were the ones in the southern states that had slaves. He knows since then it flipped. Now tell me, Michael, which party is the party that would have slaves right now if they could? Come on, man.
Is why are we spending time on this? This is the President of the United States. He has a whole list of things to do, including keeping our nation safe, revisiting history. That is something that the curators, the historians are there to do, and independent boards that put together these amazing exhibits. And, you know, you go to the African American History Museum and other museums, and you see the progress that different communities have made. So, you know, for the president to be spending his time on this, for taxpayer dollars to be devoted to sort of doing exhibits, I just don't understand what it's going to do and how it's going to move us forward.
Well, this is a version of, I mean, just to sort of say it out loud, this is a extreme version of the war on DEI.
The contrast that strikes me is President Trump's doing all this work to put Confederate names back on military bases, to bring Confederate statues back. And the argument for that is, let's tell the full story of our history. Let's not erase people because we don't agree with their politics now. It's such a contrast to this, which is like, let's go back and erase part of our history because it conflicts with my politics now. It just feels so contrasting that they want to go back and change history at the same time as they're sort of reviving these monuments to that part of the past.
What's your Michael's the answer to his question about who's the constituency here?
Listen, I do think there's a big part of the American electorate, especially on the Republican side, who feel like we're told we have to apologize for being Americans. We have to constantly apologize for our original sin. That's very real, but I don't think this decision represents or rectifies that. If anything, you go to the Smithsonian's and it is a triumph of American history. It's overcoming our worst struggles. And again, to Michael's point, that's why I think it might be good if the president just went and saw it. It really is not woke displays that fly in the face of what he stands for by any means. I think he would leave and feel very similarly to how he did in 2017.
Is there anyone around him right now who will say, let's go check out the museum, sir?
I can't imagine. They might go to see the National Guard outside the museum, but not to go to it.
If I could just say quickly,
Yeah.
I think it's one thing. I mean, if you're white, no one wants to constantly be told everything your people did in the past is terrible. Like, no one wants to hear that over and over again. I completely understand that. But I don't know if the American people who happen to be white also want to go as far as to say, well, let's completely ignore or reform or change or diminish or minimize what we experienced in the past. I just think most people want to acknowledge it. It happened. It occurred. But can we keep moving forward? I think that's the bigger question for me.
I mean, I know this is going to sound Pollyanna, but what about a balance?
There we go. How about that?
Yeah.
How about that, Dan?
I know. That's like, does anybody even think that way?
Well, I mean, I also think this is distracting from the issues that he doesn't want to talk about, like the economy, the big, beautiful bill, which is going to be very hard to sell in districts.
All right, everybody, don't go away. We'll be right back.
White people out there, please let me know in the comments. Who's coming up to you and telling you everything you've done is evil and bad? Where is this happening? I have a bunch of white friends and I'm not hearing this. I just don't get what they're talking about. And these people do not want balance. They want domination. They're talking about reteaching how slavery is taught and speak about how all the benefits that came from slavery, for black people. When you say balance, what you're really saying is let's give in to the racists a little bit so that they can feel better, so they can shut up. I say no. I say F that. I say grow up and stop being such a little wimp, getting your feelings hurt for everything. I mean, they're crying right now because the old white dude on the Cracker Barrel had been removed. This is who these people are. Look at what they're fighting to keep and what they're fighting to remove. How can you not see it? How can you not see it, little Shermichael? They're showing it over and over. Mexican people are sending, you know what? I'm not even sure if I can say it here. Immigrants are poisoning the blood of the nation. The party that calls black people DEI hires. Immigrant jobs are black jobs. The party that is right now creating police state in DC and now going to Chicago. Seeing any effing patterns here. That for these people, black and brown, people are criminals. Violent, disorderly, that need to be tamed. Sure, Michael, Trump fired you because you critiqued him ever so lightly about how he spoke about the black community. How can you act so confused? I wish people on these panels would be much more personal and direct. Because you're just not going to be able to squirm your way out of this one. Central Park 5, Kamala isn't black. This stuff is all before 2016, 2017 when he was what? Less racist? No, he wasn't. And we asking ourselves, who's this for? Who's asking for it? Like little Shermichael, I just would love to ask him, is this trade worth it? To step on your own people's back, what are you getting from the Republican Party that is worth doing this, man? I really would love to sit with him. What are the ideas and policies you like by Republicans so damn much that you would take this effing disrespect? That'll make you stand with them, even though they despise your race, man. Despise mine. Simply because of our skin color. Think that we're subhuman. I just don't get it. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there, guys. I thought this was worth bringing to you guys. And let me know if you like the show, The Arena, and if I should cover more of it. But yeah, this segment, it just really annoys me. I wanted to see what he was going to say about all this, and it's just baffling to me that you could get so much more out of it when you be direct. That's why sometimes I do like the Abby Phillip panels when they're fighting, because you are being more direct. You have to be with these people. These people are savages. We should expose who they are. To show a more moderate Republican is an illusion. This is not who the majority of the Republican Party is today. I.e., look who won. Look who the most popular Republican is. I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me know what you think about this new show. If I should cover it more. Please leave a comment. Please leave a like. Subscribe. It really helps the channel. Really helps get the message out there. And I'll catch you in the next one.